Hey gamers, and welcome to my top 100 board games of all time, the 2020 edition. I know a lot of you have been really looking forward to this. I did my vintage top 100 or top whatever about a month or so ago, and now, yes, the time has come to rank all 248 non-vintage games in my collection. It was 250. I traded a few away, and so I lost that magic number. 250 is what I wanted to be at, but I don't care. Those two games were dead last, and for a reason. I didn't even want them in my collection, and I wasn't even going to play them. So I'm glad I'm at 248, and all of these games I do enjoy. I do love and do enjoy. And probably by the time this video comes out, maybe a week later, I'll have maybe 250 in my collection, seeing as all these Black Friday sales are going on. And I have my eye on one or two games, but let's go ahead and get right to it. So number 258 is a game that is in my gaming group's top 10. One of them said it's one of his top 10 games, and he still loves it. And actually, it's loved by everyone. I love it too, but even though it ranked last, doesn't mean it's bad. It's Roadkill Rally. Folks, Roadkill Rally is a hilarious racing game where you're running through the streets on these tiles. There are different rules for each tile, different obstacles you have to go around. You are playing cards, spending them a lot, trying to shoot the cars in front of you for extra victory points. You're also trying to run over pedestrians, adults and children and grannies on walkers. Yes, there's a little figure of a granny on a walker, and she is worth 50 points to kill, the highest point. So kind of little dark satirical there, but it is a lot of fun. Now my gaming group absolutely love this. Like I told you, there's someone in my gaming group who tells me this is in his top 10. And it always ranks near the bottom of mine. And I think I've said this before in prior years, but the reason it always ranks at the bottom, but I won't get rid of it. I won't get rid of it because it is fun and my gaming group still loves playing it. The reason it ranks so low for me is because I've said this before. I think I said this in my initial review. Man, you don't get to play a lot of those cards for what they're worth. Cards can also be bullets, and whenever you take damage, you got to get rid of cards. So a lot of these cards, you're utilizing them not for what's written on the card, but rather the bullet value, or just taking damage and throwing cards out. And it's just kind of aggravating that you don't get to play a lot of those cards you keep. But the game is a lot of fun. I see it for super cheap everywhere, but wonderful game. Happy it's in my collection, even though it's at the bottom of this list. On to number 247. It is Santorini. Santorini, folks, when it first entered my collection, I think was like 99, barely making it on the list. I've never been a big fan of Santorini. However, my nephews absolutely love this game. They love this game, and they're good at this game. I also suck at this game too. I will be honest, we played again with the Golden Fleece expansion. I don't think I played that last year, and this year we decided to play with it, and I forgot how much that, to me, that just really enhances the game, and the extra characters in there are really fun too. So I did enjoy this one, and I was for a moment thinking, should I trade this? But after getting to play it earlier this year, I was like, no, this is a keeper. And like I said, my nephew's like, oh, Santorini, we forgot about this. And they were all into that. And we played several games that day. I think the whole day we sat around one Sunday afternoon and just played Santorini. And even my aunt, who does not really play board games, saw the game and said, I got to get into this. Yeah, and so she started playing, had a great time. Santorini, it's like 3D checkers in a way. I don't know. Each character has these little powers, and you're trying to build a 3-story building with these nice pieces, and the game looks beautiful once the game's over. You're building the city of Santorini, and you're trying to get your character to the top of that tier before someone caps it off, and whoever makes it to the top wins. Now, this is like a 2 or 3 player game, I think, but it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. I have most of the promos for it. I was collecting them, and then I stopped because I was like, I don't really love the game that much. So some of the newer promos that have come out in the past year or so, I haven't collected, but you don't really need them. The game has plenty of Greek gods to go over and plenty of characters you can play with, but I love how every character is unique. Their power is unique, and to be honest, these really balance each other out. You think, oh, that's not that powerful a power I have compared to his. Actually, if you use it right, any strategy can get you to that victory, any Greek god's power. So it is a fun game, even though it ranks a little bit lower on my list. At number 246 is a new game that came into my collection very early this year. It was 2x2. I got this off of just dirt cheap clearance sale by Miniature Market. I think it was like $2. And I was like, well, for $2, let's see. I've always been a fan of Noah's Ark. I've been looking for games surrounding this. I played Ark and Noah, which I thought was okay. It was okay, but I found out I was missing pieces and had to give it away. But then I said, well, 2x2 may be interesting. Now, this is a kid's game, but you're placing water tokens around the board, moving your ark, and collecting animals, 2x2. And of course, you're trying to get, depending on what color you are, you're trying to get particular animals to get double points. You're trying to get exclusive of one animal, because if you do that, you're going to get double points for that as well. So there is some strategy there, but it is a children's game. But I'll be honest, it's staying in my collection, because when my girls get older, you better believe I'm going to bring this out. I think it's a lot of fun to play, again, for kids, but still a great game. And it's on my list at 246. At number 245 is a game from Haba. It is a children's game as well, and it's a new game added to my collection. It is Hot Dog Casino. Hot Dog Casino is basically a children's push your luck game, where you're basically pulling tokens out, or poker chips out of a bag, and trying to raise the stakes. Whoever has the biggest value can move up, depending on what you're betting on. And so there's different areas on the board. You're trying to move up to the big dog house. Is what you're trying to do. There's nice big chunky wooden pieces like in a Haba game. The poker chips are really good, and this is the funny part about it. There is a token with dog poop on it. So it's push your luck, meaning if you pull out that token with dog poop, you're automatically out of the bidding, and so you can't win anything. So it's a good reason to kind of maybe hold and not pull any out, but then your opponent may say, well, I'm going for it, and they may pull a number chip out to beat your number and move ahead. I like that push your luck strategy. Sometimes you're already ahead, but when you see your opponent about to pull out a poker chip, you're like, well, I got to too. I want to keep the lead. It is very simple because it is Haba. It is a children's game, but again, this is another one that I can't wait to play with my daughters when they get older. I think this is going to be a really fun game. I played it with my nephews, and they thought that poop poker chip was hilarious. It is hilarious, and because it is push your luck, even though it's a children's game for push your luck, I will never win this game. I always push too far, but it is a fun little game. I got it at a decent price, I remember, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. Number 244 has been in my collection for about 5 years now, and it is the only party game in my collection. It is Say Anything. Folks, I do not like party games. I really despise party games, but I'm keeping this one in my collection. Even though I haven't played in the past few years, I do enjoy it. Say Anything is basically someone reads a question, which the questions are pretty good, and then you, with your little marker board, you write down exactly what, any answer you want. It couldn't even be relative to the question. It could be anything you want. This can lead to some hilarious moments depending on what group you're with. There are inside jokes allowed that would be funny. The only problem is in this game is that the person who's picking the winner, because you're putting betting chips on who you think had the best answer after everything's revealed. And I try to make a rule that the person who's choosing cannot react to anything. They got to sit there or maybe close their eyes or walk out of the room, because sometimes they start laughing. They say, I love that. Everyone puts their poker chips on it, right? Or sometimes they pick one on purpose that they think no one else will pick because they don't want to give them points. So, but anyway, it is a really, really, really fun game. It came out with, it had a 10th anniversary with new 180 questions. I was this close to getting it. Target slashed it like half off, but then I decided I don't play this enough to get another expansion. However, if I'm walking in a flea market and I see something like the Family Edition or this 10th edition for like $1, $2, I'm probably going to pick it up, because Say Anything, as party games go, it is my favorite party game. It's the only one left in my collection. At number 243 is another very popular game with my gaming group. It is Smugglers. And Smugglers, you are smuggling these 3 types of jewels. It can be a salty treat, a sweet treat, or your one-time stink bomb, which can give you either salty or sweet. Now, what you're doing is you got this like little, it's not Play-Doh, but it's some kind of material like Play-Doh, a little bit more rubbery. And you're moving this little person across these little holes. Now you can look at it, but you can't measure, you can't stick the little ball through the hole to check and see if it's wide enough. What you're trying to do is you're trying to tear off enough material, roll up into a ball to A, that it makes sure it fits through that gate, but then B, that it's the biggest ball ever, because you're going to start weighing them. And if you weigh the most, you're going to get of course, whatever you smuggled in. And for people who didn't make it or failed to make it, or theirs was too light, you get to guess what's in their little ball. And if you guess what they tried to smuggle, you'll get that treat too. I really love the dynamics of this game. It's very simple, easy to figure out, and we have a blast playing it. My gaming group has a huge blast playing this game, I should say. You use your stink bomb. It's a one-time thing, really, and if someone doesn't guess the stink bomb and it is a stink bomb, that can backfire on them. But like I said, it's a one-time use, so you got to be careful on when to use it. The game ends when you collect, I believe it's 7 of one of those, either 7 salty, 7 sweet, or I can't remember, like 5 of each, like a mix of each, which is usually how it's going to go. Because if people find out you're smuggling a bunch of sweet, they're going to start guessing sweet when you don't make it. Like I said, really fun game, awesome one of the favorites from my gaming group. And hey, it's right here on my list at 243. All right, so let's get into number 242. This is kind of a children's game as well, but it is a really fun game, easy to set up. It's called Shark Mania. Shark Mania takes about 2 minutes to play. You are rolling this dice and moving your pirate along this bridge. A shark fin is slowly coming across the way. It feels like he's going to get there. It's going to take him forever to get to you, but after a while, that shark fin gets to the bridge and starts splitting it apart, like that shark is chasing you. You have a decision every time you roll. You roll the die, and either you can take that many coins that are on the board or move that many spaces. Now, this game is awesome at a 4-player game because the game moves fast. I think only if you play with 4 players, you are only grabbing coins once because the rest of the time you're just running. Because if you get busted by the shark or caught by the shark, you're out. You lose everything. But if you make it to the island and you don't have that many coin, you could lose because then you're going to flip over all the coins. They have different values on the back, and whoever has the highest value in coins wins. Really awesome game. I think it's super cheap to get, and you should definitely get it. This is a great filler game. I bring it out a lot, especially when I do theater. This is a great one during the intermission when we're backstage. We'll break this out. We'll play it a couple of times with people yelling and screaming, having a great time. So it is a fun filler game. My nephews absolutely love this game too. So much fun, so much fun. If it wasn't a children's game, it'd probably get ranked a little bit higher, but hey, for what it's worth, excellent game. Well worth having in my collection. And at 241, the last game I'm going to mention here is the game 300. Now 300 is based off the movie. I was watching the movie one day and said, what if they made a board game about that? And they did. Now this is a 2-player game where you're playing the Persians or the Spartans. And as the Spartans, you are trying to get 300, I think it's 300 glory points or 100 glory points to win the game. You have about, it depends, but you have about 5 or 6 rounds to do it in. And as the Persians, you're just trying to hold off the Spartans. And your resources are endless. You can just send tons and tons of people to die over and over. When a Spartan dies, and it's hard to kill a Spartan, but when they die, they don't come back. And so and sometimes they can lose victory points, glory points if certain ones die. So there's a neat dynamic here because as the Persians, there's the gate that they're trying to get in, and if they don't, if the 300 just stay within that gate, they're going to whoop any of the Persians. But the reason the Persians can win this game, and it's so easy, is just send little minions. So it's not enough glory points over 6 rounds, forcing the Spartans to come out, and just like they did in the battle, and start slaughtering more Persians so they can get the glory points instead. And at that point, you can really start surrounding Spartans and start killing them. Really great game. I highly recommend you look at the rules from the designer. He added some rules or changed some rules on BGG, meaning with what you can do with cards and everything. And we play with those rules all the time. Makes the game a lot better. Now, don't let this game fool you. It looks like it's a little boring little tokens. At first, it's like, maybe I shouldn't have got this game. But this is a great game. I've played the Persians several times. I've had a fun time. I played the Spartans and had a fun time. You can have a fun time with both. When I first got the game, I thought, you'll never have fun playing the Persians. But I love playing the Persians. There was one time when I beat the Spartans so bad that I was close. There's another way you can end the game, though it rarely would happen, is if you are charging through the gate and you get to the Spartans' home camp. Then the game's instantly over. Now for the Persians to do that's really hard. Like I was like, a space away from doing that, but the game was already over by then, it is very hard to charge in on the Spartans. And at the same time, if you're charging in, you're putting your bigger beast in there, and they're getting bigger glory points when they finally take them down. So the game has a neat balance to it. I see this game for pennies on the dollar, and to be honest, it is a great game. Probably the reason it ranks low for me is because it's a two-player game, and I don't really get to play two-player games that often. So there you go. There's my first set of 8, but from here on out, folks, we're going to take these 10 at a time until we get to number 1. I will see you next time with another video.